Hey everyone, we are looking through another one of our development opportunities. This one is in Berkshire County in the area of Western Massachusetts. That's part of the Berkshires mountain range. And this is a lot that we happen to know intimately. This project started as a client's design and development project where our client had purchased this lot with the intention of one project. Their plans changed, which certainly happens. And we think that this is still an amazing project for the right person. And so we are presenting it to our audience as what we think is a really special place, but more than that, a location that we know very, very well, that we've visited this lot multiple times. We've spent lots of time working through the site plan, thinking about how to take advantage of the kind of most special parts of this parcel, which are incredible views and kind of high altitude mountain landscape. And so, as I think we'll start to do as we move forward with reviewing these development opportunities, I'm going to pass the mic to Ollie Bradley, who both works on design efforts on our team, but also helps to craft these development opportunities. And as a real estate developer himself, he's got a really great handle on the economics of these projects, the phases of work, and as a designer, how to make them special places and think about these through the lens not just of economics, but also of livability and taking advantage of the best natural qualities of these parcels. So, Ollie, let me pass it over to you to walk everyone through our October lookout development opportunity, and I'll jump in with commentary along the way and be here to help answer Q&A as they pop up.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Wayne. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today or later than today if you are. So, as Wayne said, this is our October Lookout development opportunity, which sort of is a project that we've really gotten familiar with. So, if we come up here, again, we can sort of start to get a sense of HUTS, the HUTS expanded universe. And if you kind of zoom into this collection of our projects, you can see October Lookout over here, which is really kind of sort of holding down the the eastern border of HUTS country here, extending out and scrolling over to Google Maps. You can see this is really right over the border of Massachusetts here. So New York, and this is the Catskill areas, and we're getting into the Berkshires here. So this site here is located right outside of town of Beckett, and this is sort of a ridgeline road coming down here. So if this site is really, it's at about, I think it's 1,800, 2,000 feet elevation, and you really get this stunning view out here towards October Mountain State Park and this really stunning kind of view line here, which makes this lot super unique within the Berkshires generally. So if we go back over here, I'm just going to show you guys again how you can get to our development opportunities, which if you're on our website, you can go to developments, see all. And for this one, we're scrolling down. This is actually our currently our is just over our range of the 900 to 1.2, 900K to 1.2 million. So see details, and this is where you need to be. And with the imagery on this one, you can kind of see this is actually like a sneak peek of what it's like working with us, because this is sort of, because we've worked with this project, we were really starting to place this standard the Big L on site and playing around with how this thing meets the ground in this location. So what kind of foundation types, how we can start to play with topography to give some interesting sort of topographical details to this, which I think is always an interesting moment with HUTS standards, is when they actually hit the site and how they're cited, of course, but also what happens in 3 dimensions and how you start to play with that. So this again is coming out of our BIM model here, but you can start to see these driveway details coming down. And this big L standard really starts to do some interesting stuff. It really creates a front and back, and almost starts to kind of do what a courtyard structure does. Of course, this has a deck, but you kind of start to see we're imagining a hot tub and a big sort of dining room pulled out of the main space here. So again, here you go. Here's this stunning ridgeline view of this property, which really, has is all four seasons kind of stunning. It's, kind of fireworks at fall, reds, yellows, all that. And then kind of as the summer progresses, and into winter as well. I mean, it's sort of, you really get your four season escape. So starting to see it's a 9-acre lot. Again, you're sort of coming right down off a ridgeline here. This is it in winter, and this is it sort of, the sort of foggy, foggy beginning of spring day. You kind of start to see the kind of textures and yellows that can kind of come up in the site. So to start this project,
Just one note of again, this is a place that we've been multiple times, and so I've been there at a time where I've been able to see sort of a distant thunderstorm coming across the landscape. Felt like it was maybe hundreds of miles away, but probably more like 20. But that's one of those unique things that only, like Ollie's saying, there's a lot of 9-acre lots out there. Some of them are covered by forest. Some of them have a little bit of a view. And some of them are all about the view. They're all about how panoramic and expansive it is. And while at only 1,800 or 2,000 feet of elevation, it kind of feels like you're at 30,000 feet, the distance that you're seeing. And again, to be able to kind of like watch the weather patterns, watch sort of global shifts happen tens of miles away, and sort of do that from your sort of wide open living kitchen dining space, or from your picture window in your principal bedroom, or across your full length deck. It's one of these places where it didn't require any imagination. That really, when we were there, a lot of places we have to sort of think through how might we sort of dial up the best natural pieces. In this lot, you kind of come up this country road, make a left into the parcel, and boom, it's immediately apparent what makes this place so special.
absolutely. And so here you can sort of start to see the kind of site organization from the eagle view imagery here. But this is this ridgeline road, Washington Mountain Road here, and you drop in through this driveway, and this is your site. And this cleared area here is the build area that we're considering. Sort of as you kind of drop down, it becomes more wetlands here, but you really sort of get a nice grade of topography going along this thing that accentuates this view, which really becomes the sort of special part of this site. So here again, reflected in the site map. And so to purchase this lot,
And just one thing up on that site diagram above is that your view is also a western. Not only is it sort of an expansive view, but it's a sunset view, and you're going to see the sunset behind the ridgeline of October Mountain, and that's going to be sort of like a daily spectacle, which I think is probably the number one feature of this place.
Yeah, it's an awesome site. So this is sort of the acquisition price for this lot is around $300,000, and if somebody wants this site, they can contact us for that, and we can put them in touch with the person who is selling the lot currently. So basically, for the process of how we think about these development opportunities generally is in the phases that you would start to develop the site. So in the first phase of the site, you're preparing the lot for the house, which requires building out a driveway and starting to sort of think about overall placement of the structure on the site. So again, here's another stunning view of this property. But really, as we kind of dive into the pro forma here, we start to try and break out each of those pieces to help you think and attach a price to them. So for this, it's pretty close to the existing road. So we wouldn't need much of a driveway. We need to sink a well, plan a septic system, and then hook it up to power. Those are kind of the hard costs associated with the site, and we are adding HUTS design and development fee on top of that. So the project cost at this phase, including acquisition, around $365,000. And sort of for each of these things, the beauty of developing your own site is you're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, as are we, but you're forcing equity into the project at each stage. So sort of at this stage of the project, we are estimating about $30,000 of value created at this point going through this process. So then we brings us to the moment you've been waiting for, building your home, which is our big L standard here. And I just pulled it up here as well, so you can start to take a look at it. But it's our biggest standard. It's a really kind of exciting house because one of the things it does is, it gives the opportunity for this really fantastic deck where you really just be living on and pulling you out of the house, which is why you're there, as well as sort of framing all these incredible views. But by placing the great room, kitchen, dining, living area in the center, you really kind of create this separation between the primary suite and kind of the sort of guest room, rest of the house. So it really kind of creates sort of the two separation in the private areas of the house. So this is, phenomenal for your standard family with kids, or if you're having guests, you get to sort of really have that space and separation. And the sort of in this property in particular, you'd have views out here. These would be the sort of fantastic views, and this would be kind of tucked away, creating.
Yeah, the principal suite here gets kind of southwest corner, kind of the best light throughout the day, southern exposure all through the day, and then your own kind of personal sunset fireworks show from the principal suite. I think the other thing that's important to reference here in the Big L is the not just the kind of buffer between the private and public spaces, but also the potential for very efficient mechanical zoning. The idea that, let's say, it is sort of the family with two kids or three kids, and there's a bit of like a kid's wing and a parent's wing, and maybe just the parents are going to the house, or there are no guests. Then there's the opportunity to just kind of like turn on the part of the house that includes the principal suite and the living, kitchen, dining spaces, and kind of leave off the entirety of the house that is the guest or kid bedrooms. And it's a very efficient way to think about utilities planning, a very efficient way to think about mechanical planning and overall cost of maintenance for the house.
Fantastic. So here again, we have our Big L, which are really these two gabled forms coming together with this glassy connector as the sort of entrance mudroom sort of area, kind of creating this, again, dramatic sense of approach, kind of framing the view out in this direction as you arrive. And here we get to our final pro forma here, which we're sort of imagining this phase of the home, kind of breaking it out into sort of the way we think about homes, which is the conditioned shell being one piece, fixtures and finishes being another. So basically, the way we kind of really think about this is like the basic construction costs of a home are pretty much commodities, right? You can sort of move the needle here and there, but really it's kind of going to be roughly a fixed cost where you as have more wiggle room in your house is in the fixtures and finishes, because you can choose different tiles, you can choose different fixtures, that sort of. So it really kind of depends on the use of the house. If it's more for you than for rental, maybe you want to go a little bit higher. Maybe you'll want to use shinier finishes, so it won't get fixtures. But if it's for rental, you might want to go darker colors. maybe a little bit more of a brushed finish or darker finish to kind of hide wear and tear. So we're imagining this 1,800 square foot project, which is a number we've got from comps in the area at $400 a square foot, which is, the area is a little more expensive than the work we do in the Catskills per se, but it's also, a stunningly beautiful area. So it's $400 for the conditioned shell cost, and the fixtures and finishes we're having $150 per square foot, because we're imagining this house can certainly have a rental use, but its primary use would probably be for someone that really is sort of wanting to make this their second home or even potentially primary home. And we're including a HUTS fee on top of that. So the project cost we're estimating for this is about 1,380,000 about. But we're really sort of thinking this project would have a value closer to 1.6 ish million dollars at the end. So it's something that forces about $215,000 of equity into it, as you're working as a developer. And if you do decide to sort of use sort of rental as a way to offset financing costs, or you're not using it and you want to sort of rent it out, we imagine it could be rented out for a pretty hefty price, around $600 a night. If you did that 18 nights a month, that would be almost $11,000 or $130,000 in revenue a year. So that's how we're thinking about this project. It's really a stunning project. This is the ridge line of it in the back here. And I think it's one that really follows that Hudson Valley painter school of the sublime, of the sort of just like what these mountainous landscapes can be and how they change with the seasons. So
And so while I think this is sort of a higher cost of entry than a lot of the projects you're used to seeing from HUTs, I also think that the value is certainly there, that the economics hold up, that in each one of those phases, from land acquisition to land improvement through to home construction, we're pretty confident in the ability to stay right side up on the project and not just like a little bit equity positive, but kind of a lot. And then the rental pro forma there, I think, is somewhat conservative relative to what we've seen. It's annualized a bit. You're going to have much higher rates in the fall than you will in the spring, but on average, we think that's a pretty conservative estimate with a pretty conservative occupancy rate, and you are handily covering your costs at $130,000 gross revenue per year. And along the way, you have just kind of a incredible place that I think is also appreciating very well in a location where there's limited ongoing construction, limited available inventory, and this is a project where, like both I and Ali have said, it's we know the location, we know what the pieces are, we know what's feasible and what's not, and it's about as close to sort of build ready as a new development project could be. So let's stop there and open it up for Q&A for anyone out there who has a question, and Ali or I will field it as best we can. I think one of the things, while we wait to see if a question comes in, that is one of the games that we played here in utilizing this lot. We're really only utilizing probably like an acre of the lot, because one of our goals is to maximize a lot of not to sink a lot of the costs into land improvement, not build sort of a long driveway, and not sort of like excavate all over the place, and to make sure that the house stays at the highest point on the lot. And so that allows us to have like very low driveway costs, very low power run costs, and keep the house at the highest point. But what's nice is you get these other 8 acres that are kind of part of the parcel, even though that they're sort of like down below and they don't enjoy the same view, but they're also like really beautiful forested land. And so I can imagine on this parcel also down the line building sort of like a trail system where you come down off of your deck, you come down onto that slope, and then you kind of walk down the slope and back up, and you get your sort of mile long loop in on your own property each morning. Anonymous asks, how can I set up an appointment to visit the land? So if you scroll down, Ali. please fill out this form and send it in. And we'll both put you in touch with the realtor listing the land. And we'll also have your contact to be able to talk about the project should you want to go forward with it through the design and development exercise with HUTS. Ben asked, will HUTS finance this project? Ben, we're not a financial institution, and so we're unable to operate as the lender. However, in almost all of our project areas, and this one included, we have great relationships with financial institutions that have really excellent construction lending products that we believe in and feel are a really great fit for what we do and a really great fit for kind of proving out the economics of the project.
I think maybe another thing just to say about this project is, again, we weren't really tuning this one to rental, but if you were, the nice things about this project is I mean, it's about 3 hours from New York, but it's about 2 hours from Boston. So you kind of get this sort of overlapping Venn diagrams there of major metro markets. So you can really start to play with
Yeah.
that. And if you kind of begin thinking about that, I mean, it just becomes a lot of potential weekends, I mean, I think you really could tune more in the rental direction and get this project cash
Yeah.
producing.
I think you also have the opportunity to look at, and this is sort of typical in the Berkshires in the way that it's less typical in the Catskills, is that you have both weekly and monthly rentals that look a little bit more like what people do in sort of beach destinations or like out east in Long Island, where I'm going to rent this for the entirety of October, or I'm going to rent this for the entirety of August. And then for those times when you know you're not going to be there, you're getting sort of like a big block of consistent revenue. And what also happens with properties like that is year over year, you kind of have those people who are your renters in August, and it starts to become a very predictable line of revenue. Well, I hope this was helpful for us to walk through. It's an opportunity we're very excited about. We hope that somebody who is either on this call or watches later will choose to work with us on it. And yeah, Ben, sounds awesome. I think that we should certainly chat. And yeah, I think anyone out there, please do scroll down to the October Lookout Development Opportunities page on our site. We'll include that link in the caption of this video that we'll post on YouTube. Anyone that signed up for this webinar will reach out with information on how to pursue next steps. And looking forward to working with someone out there to realize what we think is a really remarkable vision for this place. Ollie, thank you so much. And everyone out there, have a great rest of the day.